Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Okay, let's just jump right in today because we are tackling something that literally every single one of us has experienced at some point. We're going to unpack an ancient conversation that actually holds the ultimate cure for our very modern struggles with burnout, exhaustion, and that feeling of just being completely directionless. We're pulling wisdom straight from Chanakya, who is hands down one of history's greatest strategists and philosophers, and we're going to break down his timeless rules for success.
To set the stage here, picture this. You've got the future emperor Chandragupta sitting sadly by a river with his mentor, Chanakya. And he makes this confession. I have goals, but sometimes I feel directionless. The internal energy to work just isn't there. I mean, how relatable is that? Even with all our modern ambition, how often do we just feel completely drained of the energy we need to actually keep pushing forward?
So, it really begs the question, why? Why do we lose our motivation like that? Why does our drive just vanish into thin air? Well, according to Chanakya, if you're feeling this way, your connection to your goal is probably a bit weak. But more importantly, the absolute root cause of this lack of motivation comes down to one single destructive habit. And throughout this explainer, we're going to look at exactly how to fix it.
All right, let's get into Section 1, the danger of idleness. Before giving out his rules for success, Chanakya tells this really powerful cautionary tale about a gardener named Ramlal, and it just perfectly captures the stakes of being lazy. Let's walk through this timeline. So, Ramlal was heavily in debt and really needed a good crop. In the spring, he goes out, plants his seeds, does a little digging, and then he just kind of decides to leave it up to fate. He genuinely thinks nature's just going to do the rest. So during months 1 and 2, while all his neighbors are out there every single day watering, fertilizing, protecting their crops from bugs, what's Ramlal doing? He's sitting idle. He's literally hanging out at the village square, drinking tea, gossiping, and just relying on luck. And this brilliantly illustrates the cost of inaction. Because look at his harvest. Dry stalks, ruined plants, and a mountain of debt that's even worse than before. He relied on fate while totally avoiding the daily grind.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is this. The ultimate secret is to never sit idle. When Chandragupta asked for the greatest secret to success, Chanakya's answer was basically just that. Sitting idle destroys your future. Ramlal's tragic harvest is the ultimate proof that leaving your success up to fate while you do nothing? Yep, that's a guaranteed recipe for failure.
Moving right along to Section 2, focus and clear goals.
Okay, so to actually implement this, we have to look internally first. We need to take control of our wandering minds. Let's contrast these two states. On the one side, you have the distracted mind. When you're constantly spending your time worrying about what everyone else is doing, why they're ahead, what they're saying, you basically trap your mind in a maze. The source text literally tells us this causes fatigue and confusion. You're just bleeding energy. But flip that around to the focused mind. When you cut out the noise and zone in entirely on your own progress, you get clarity. You actually turn your mind into this incredibly powerful weapon capable of rapid progress. Life is kind of like a battlefield, and honestly, a distracted mind is your worst enemy.
Think of it this way. A clear goal is a lighthouse. Without it, life is just a boat lost at sea, crashing into shores. You just cannot run in 5 different directions at once and expect to find success. Today you want one thing, tomorrow a new idea pops up on your feed, and by next week you're chasing something else entirely. That constant, endless shifting is exactly what causes that awful feeling of being lost at sea.
So how do we fix it? We define the goal by asking 3 essential questions. 1. What do I actually want? 2. Why is this important to me? And 3. How much time and energy can I realistically commit to this? When you firmly answer these 3 things, you finally give your mind a center. And more importantly, it literally stops your brain from generating all those unnecessary doubts, like, can I really do this? Or, wait, is this even the right path?
All right, let's jump to Section 3, self-belief and resilience.
Look, even with the best goals in the world, setbacks are absolutely inevitable. It's going to happen. The real question is, how do you build the mental armor you need to survive them? Well, Chanakya says, every difficulty is a teacher. When you fail, your mind naturally wants to just sit idle and wallow in defeat. But Chanakya tells us to reframe failure entirely. Roadblocks are not the end of the journey, they are literally required lessons. You just have to extract the lesson and keep moving forward.
To put this into perspective, in real history, Chanakya and Chandragupta actually faced a devastating, crushing defeat early on when they rebelled against the powerful Nanda dynasty. I mean, their small army was completely scattered, but instead of just giving up and going home, they used that defeat as a teacher. They sat down, analyzed their weaknesses, built new alliances with local tribes, and ultimately, They founded the legendary Maurya Empire. They literally used their massive failure as a stepping stone.
Which brings us to a really powerful realization. A warrior isn't just one who wins, but one who fights till the end. The crucial point here is resilience, guys. Self-belief isn't about assuming you're never going to lose. It's about having that fire that keeps burning even when the path gets incredibly difficult. Don't let a temporary defeat turn into permanent idleness.
Next up, Section 4, the power of continuous learning.
So continuous learning is a foundational pillar if you want to avoid idleness. The text is super clear about this. The very day you stop learning is the day your personal growth just dies. And this learning comes from three main sources. Step 1, books. These are basically the condensed experiences of others. Step 2, and I absolutely love this concept, people. Treat every single person around you as a walking university. Observe your colleagues' amazing time management or just absorb a friend's relentless positivity. That is active learning. And step 3, mistakes. Like we just talked about, your own personal lessons. If you're always learning from these three sources, you are never truly idle.
And that leads us perfectly into our final piece of the puzzle, Section 5, discipline and constant action.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the mindset. Now we got to focus on the actual physical habits required to secure your success. Discipline is the rope that pulls you directly to your goal, saving you from distraction. So often we think of discipline as a punishment, right? Something restrictive and boring, but the text frames it so beautifully as an essential tool. It's the literal bridge between your dream and your reality. It is the exact thing that keeps you from wandering off into that crazy maze of distractions.
So what does holding on to this rope of discipline actually look like in practice? Let's run through these daily action steps. First, wake up on time. And actually, this isn't just about saving hours. It's about getting your head straight and organizing your thoughts before the world gets super loud. Second, exercise the body. Third, sweat for your success, because there is zero shortcuts here. And finally, apply mental and emotional effort. Hard work isn't just physical labor, you know. Think of a writer working day and night trying to perfect a story. That deep mental dedication is absolutely sweating for success.
Our final core concept is this, and it's a big one. The brain never actually turns off. Even when you sleep, you're dreaming. So if your mind is literally always active, why on earth would you let it sit idle in a state of worry or just overanalyzing your past failures? You have to consciously feed it positive action. Redirect that energy. Use your free time to learn a new skill like coding, take a really mindful nature walk, or sit down and plan your future. If you leave your mind idle, it's naturally going to drift right toward fear and anxiety.
Which leaves us with this final, lingering question I want you to chew on today. Your mind is always working. What are you going to feed it today? Are you going to feed it gossip, idleness, and distraction? Or will you feed it clear goals, continuous learning, and constant action? The choice is entirely yours. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now go out there and get to work.